In this session, we will learn about while loop. While loop is another form of loop. While loop starts with the keyword while followed by condition that needs to be true for while loop to execute the body of loop. So as long as condition is true, loop will continue, and as soon as condition becomes false, while loop will stop. For every iteration, while loop will check the condition, and when it becomes false, it will stop. Condition here can be anything. Here we have some examples to understand the nature of condition. For example, we can have a condition that variable value less than 10. It means that execute while loop until value of variable is less than 10. And as soon as value of variables becomes 10 or greater than 10, stop executing loop. In second example, we say that execute while loop as long as value of variable is not equal to 209. So if value of variable will become 209, while loop will stop its execution. And if it is any other value except 209, loop will continue. We can also use multiple conditions by using and or operators, similarly as we did in if and else. If we use AND operator, then both the conditions need to be satisfied for while loop to continue execution. If any single or both conditions are failed, then while loop will stop. And in case of OR operator, if only one condition is true or both conditions are true, loop will continue execution. And execution of loop will only stop if both conditions are false. Now let's write some coding examples. Let's write our first coding example of while loop. I will create a variable I and I will assign a value 0 to it. You can name this variable anything. I is the most commonly used variable in loops. So I'm using I, but you can name it of your own choice. So I will create a while loop by keyword while. As you can see, IntelliSense is telling us about while. So then two round brackets. Inside of these two round brackets, I have to provide a condition. So here we can provide any conditions. I will give a condition that I is less than 5 and a colon sign. In the body of while loop, I will print I. And what I will do more here is I will increase the value of I every time. So I will say I is equals to I plus 1. So now every time the loop body will execute, I will be increased one time. So the value of I will have an increment of 1. So let's see the output. As you can see in the output, it printed from 0 to 4. So what it did here, initially the value of I was 0. For the first iteration of while loop, it checked the condition that whether I is less than 5. The condition was true, so it entered into the body of while loop. It printed the I, which was 0 initially. Then in the next line, it incremented I with 1. So now I contains value 1. Now next time when the while loop executed, it checked for the condition. Now current value of I is 1 and it is less than 5. So the condition was again true, so it printed I and incremented I by 1. Similarly, for the third time, it again checked the condition. Now I was 2 and its condition was still true, so it printed I and incremented it by 1. So for the fourth value, it was same, and when I became 5, the condition became false here. I was equal to 5, So while didn't execute it and it stopped on 4. If I change the condition here that I is less than 10, so let's see the output. As you can see in the output, it printed from 0 to 9. So this is the benefit of while loop, that we can do more things in less lines of code. If I change the value of variable from 0 to 10, now the while loop will not execute even for a single time. So let's see the output. As you can see, there is nothing in the output because the condition failed for the first time. I was 10 and it was not less than 10. So the condition failed and it didn't execute the body of the while loop. So we can give any of the conditions of our choice in while loop. We can also give multiple condition here. So I will just make another variable. I will call it name and add a string. Let's say Smith. So I will just add a AND operator and check the condition for name as well. Name double equals to, I say if it is Smith, then you have to execute the body. So now we have used the AND operator. So both of the conditions on the left and the right side of the AND operator needs to be true for the execution of while loop. If any one condition fails, while will not execute its body. So I will change I to 1 and name is Smith. So I will just execute the code here, and as you can see in the output window, it executed from 1 to 9. Now if I change the name, if I change or I misspell it, I will add another h at the end here. So the second condition become wrong. It become false. So the loop will not execute. Let's see. As you can see in the output, it didn't printed anything because the second condition failed. But if I change this AND operator to OR operator, now what OR operator means is if any of the condition is true, you have to execute the body. Now we have I is less than 10, that is true, but name is equals to Smith, that is not true. But the loop will execute because of OR operator. So we will just quickly run it. As you can see, loop executed for all the values. You can try changing these conditions and play around with while loop so you will learn it better. Now for the sake of fun, I will just tell you one thing, that we can also go into an infinity loop. If we write while 1, so while 1 means go into an infinity loop. This loop will never stop. So I will just print something here and I will write fun. So let's run this. As you can see, it keeps on printing string fun. So that's all for this session. Let's move to our next session.